All right, guys, we got a special video here. Welcome back to the channel. This video is not related to the Elite Heat podcast, but I do have the Elitist here, and we have a fun video planned for you today. We're gonna talk about the Miz for a lot of reasons. I personally feel like this is like to the Smart Busters because they were like the original guys that ranted about the Miz all the time, and I find myself ranting about Miz every time I review Raw because I just can't believe this guy gets TV time in 2020 still to this day. I've never liked the Miz. I remember being like 8 years old and just like I hated this fucking guy. But enough of that. Elitist, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. This should be a bit of fun. Now, look, The Miz, I want to address this before we get into the video. Okay, The Miz on the mic cuts decent promos. Fair enough, they're basically the same thing every week, but the guy cuts decent promos. But when it
Really?
comes to The Miz, it's basically everything else, really. Shut up. It's
Really?
really, really, it's
God.
really about everything. It's basically everything else when it comes to The Miz. Like, we've got plenty to kind of talk about and joke about. This video is
Wait,
going to be a
wait,
bit of
but
fun.
when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut.
I want quiet on the set. Damn it, quiet on the set.
Oh
Oh,
God.
God.
Okay, so
Okay, I want to
go
start
ahead.
this off just quickly. I want to talk about his entrance. So you can talk about some other stuff, but I want to talk about the WrestleMania 27 one really quickly. So The Miz has this career-defining opportunity. WrestleMania 27. The Miz is main eventing WrestleMania, one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. WrestleMania 27, headlined by Mike Mizanin. So he does his entrance. He has the two pull floats saying "The" and Miz. Miz comes out there with the WWE title. He's got his jacket on. He's doing his strut. He walks through the middle, pushes both pull floats to the side. Okay, Miz pushes the pull floats. Alex Riley's running behind him, clapping with like laughing. And then Miz walks down like the 1,000-foot long WrestleMania aisleway, doing his strut, gets into the ring. Michael Cole's in the coal mine, passionately clapping for the Maz. And then Jerry Lawler's there just like upset. That's the Miz's WrestleMania entrance. That is the WrestleMania entrance of the Maz. I just
when,
God.
when you think about some of the great WrestleMania main events, Hogan, Andre, Austin Rock, Triple H, Randy Orton, even to pushing that one out there. John Cena and The Miz is on the level of those six iconic wrestlers that I just named. The Miz, not John Cena. I'm sorry, John Cena belongs there, but The Miz. The Miz is in the same breath as The Rock and Austin, as a guy that's main evented WrestleMania. It's absurd, but I don't want to harp on that. I don't want to harp on that because that is what it is. Is what it is.
Yeah, because like closing WrestleMania isn't like the end all be all. I mean, it was for CM Punk, but realistically, it's not like the biggest thing in the world. But to think that WrestleMania, the WrestleMania main event entrance, this is the entrance that sums up your career. We've seen The Undertaker doing his iconic, legendary entrance, Stone Cold, glass breaking, making his entrance. We've seen all these iconic entrances. And the Miz's WrestleMania entrance is him doing his strut, pushing pull floats as Mike MAGGLE Cole is like passionately clapping, talking about how the Maz is the best thing ever. Like it, Kevin. Oh, Kevin.
The Miz. This is The Miz. That WrestleMania main event was so bad that The Miz wasn't on TV for like what, like a year after that. Like within a year, he was on the pre-show at WrestleMania 28.
But Kevin, you're forgetting. Within that year, he was a part of a stable called Awesome Truth. Remember Awesome Truth?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, awesome truth. Good God. Give me a break. But now, The Miz was hated during this time in 2011, 2012, 13. But ever since he cut this one promo on Daniel Bryan in 2016, now The Miz has this passionate fan base. And it's like revisionist history. People look at The Miz and they're like, oh, he was so good. He was awesome. He had 5-star matches back in 2010, 2011. He really deserved that main event. Now he has
But,
fans in 2020. I
but,
don't
but
get it.
But Kevin, No Mercy 2016 was a great pay-per-view. He had a great match with Dolph Ziggler. The Miz cut a great promo and talking smack 4.5 years ago. You're disrespecting the Maz. What are you doing, Kevin?
Yeah, they had such a great feud. All I remember from that feud was Dolph Ziggler doing a Shawn Michaels and Triple H impersonation. Oh, I'm that damn good! Like, that's literally all I remember from that feud, bro.
Oh,
God, it's like with The Miz, I don't get it. I'm blown away that this guy has fans. Why do you think The Miz has fans in 2020?
look, I think it's the mentality of the wrestling community nowadays that everyone has to be so positive towards near enough everything that you voice a negative opinion, and yet the mass of people going, oh, but I enjoyed it. What do you mean? The Miz cuts good promos, but the Miz is serviceable in the ring, even though Miz's like in ring wrestling looks about as fake as it gets. Just nonetheless, just Miz.
Daniel Bryan said it right. He was right about the Miz when he said he's soft in the ring. The dude doesn't do anything.
Like the Miz's moveset, the one move that sticks with me, like, oh, Grant, the skull crushing finale.
The worst finisher of all time.
Yeah. Oh, like, look, you can look at finishing moves all time. You've got Goldberg's spear, even Reigns' spear. These moves, and you can probably name a million. The Tombstone Pile Driver, all these type of finishes in wrestling history, moves that look like they could debilitate you. The F5, all these type of moves. The Miz grabs your arms and just literally just like falls on you. That's his finisher. Like,
he gently glides you down face. The Miz, he gets the credit for bringing the Shield back together. Like, I remember seeing people on the internet saying, oh, the Miz is so good. Like, he's the only guy good enough to get them back together. And I can't even correlate it in my mind how people even thought that. Like, I know they did come back, right? To face the Miz and, like, somebody, like, 2 other people in a 6-man tag.
Yeah, it was, like, Sheamus, Cesaro, Miz, Kane, and Strowman, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
5. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It was like, oh, the Miz, he's carrying Raw. He's carrying Raw in 2018. Give me a break.
No, remember 2017 when it was, so Lesnar was a champion, he was never on TV, and then the Miz was like the main event of Raw with the IC title, and it was Miz versus Ambrose, and was Ambrose running out there dressed as a bear? Remember that?
Yeah.
And then Miz had the B team with Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel and the Entourage, and they were running out there doing the Alex Riley, clapping for the Maz as Miz cut like Miz TV promos every week.
Oh my god! Let's talk about something more recently though. Miz and Morrison. People love Miz and Morrison in 2020. They talk about it like these two guys have created a revolution in tag team wrestling. Like they're the Hardy Boys, or they're the Steiner Brothers or something. And they did this lame ass music video for the Braun Strowman feud. It was like, and then they did the chant, the Miz and Morrison, hey, hey, ho, ho. And you know, if there were fans in the crowd, people would be chanting that people would be chanting that. You know it.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's one of these things that, like, I'd love to know how that got pitched, whether that was Miz Morrison, whether it was the son of some creative writer who goes, do Miz and Morrison, hey, hey, ho, ho. I don't know how it got pitched. But however it got pitched, the fact that it got through, Vince got approved, they did a music video for it, it became a legitimate thing. This whole Miz and Morrison, hey, hey, ho, ho. And it's just like, this is their attempt of doing an Austin 316. This is their attempt of a suck it. Like, this is what we get nowadays. Miz and Morrison, hey, hey, ho, ho. Like, that's 2020 WWE. That is WWE's attempt of being pop culture relevant. Miz and Morrison, hey, hey, ho, ho, in a music video. Released at Backlash, I believe. Just, Kevin, I can't even be bothered.
If you're listening to this and you're a fan of The Miz, please in the comments tell us why. Tell me what it is that you find entertaining about The Miz. I don't understand. The best thing Miz has going for him is his wife. No, let's be honest. He did it right.
I'll kind of answer your question there. Sorry to cut you off. When I think The Miz, he's the most like serviceable. Just he's there. He's the Miz. He's going to either be on commentary every week. He's going to do the dirt sheet or Miz TV every week, and he's just there. Like no one's turning on Raw to see the Miz, and it hasn't been that way. Not pretty much ever. I mean, maybe people were turning on SmackDown in October 2016 to see what Dolph Ziggler is going to say to Maz, but that's literally it. Like the Miz isn't someone who, oh my god, the Miz is on. Like Miz and Maurice, the TV show they do, gets some ratings on the E Network. But as far as WWE Raw, no one's tuning into Raw to see what Miz and Morrison do on the dirt sheet. Like me as well. George Mizanin, whenever they try and get him involved in WWE TV, like I'm sure George is probably an amazing man. He's probably a great guy. Whenever they get George Mizanin involved in WWE storylines, like remember when they did like Fastlane and Elimination Chamber 2019? It was like the Miz and Shane McMahon were like beginning a feud. And like George Mizanin was like out there and bro, like
what? Like what? Like,
George Mizanin, like
God, I don't understand how people like this guy. I don't get it. Miz TV. Let's talk about Miz TV. We can spend a whole 20 minutes talking about Miz TV. Nothing happens on Miz TV. Can you tell me? Just give me one memorable thing that took place on a Miz TV. Can you name anything in all of the years that it's been going on?
I'm trying.
All right, before you answer that, let me give you some context. Let's look
Yeah.
at some of the great shows. The highlight reel of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho punches Shawn Michaels' wife. He throws Jericho into the glass. Piper's Pit. Roddy Piper, Jimmy Snuka, Coconut. Hell, what was Brother Love's show called? I don't even know. The funeral. No, not
Also,
Brother,
yeah,
not
the
Brother
cutting
Love.
edge with Edge and maybe the cutting edge peep show with Christian. Remember when Seth Rollins curb stomped Edge's
Yes.
neck on a briefcase? Stuff happens on these shows.
Yes.
Then you get Miz TV, something which has literally been going every week since 2012. Near enough every week without fail, there'll be a Miz TV. It's like there's like a pile of spec scripts every week for Raw, and there's always a Miz TV of some way, shape, or form. Or nowadays it's the dirt sheet. So there'll be a Miz
you and
TV.
I, we can't name one thing that happened on Miz TV. We can't even tell you one.
I was trying to think of anything, like nothing super memorable, like good. But you remember all these, like I remember a super random one of like TLC 2012 when the Miz did Miz TV, and they were in Brooklyn in the Barclays Center, and they had 3MB with McIntyre, Heath Slater, and Jinder Mahal come out there, and then those guys beat up Ricardo Rodriguez because he's Spanish, and then the Miz and Del Rio ran out there and made a save. That was Miz TV. That is a random show from 8 and a bit years ago. That's the only Miz TV I remember. And it's been going on literally every single week for 8.5 years. And that's the only one I remember. Some random TLC 2012 Barclays Center one where 3MB racially abused Ricardo Rodriguez. That is it. Because outside of it, nothing happens. Nothing.
What happens on Miz TV every week is the Miz brings out somebody like, he brings out like the New Day. And then the New Day, they joke and they make fun of the Miz. And then, like, in 2016, Stephanie McMahon would have come out and said, oh, we're going to have a tag team match now. The New Day versus The Miz and whoever, Damian Sandow. Like, that's literally all that would happen on Miz TV.
But Kevin, aren't you entertained when Miz TV really heats up after 10 minutes of, talking back and forth and reading lines? Aren't you engaged when it really heats up and someone on Miz TV throws one of the director's chairs at the Miz or throws it out of the ring? And action's about to heat up. Doesn't that inspire you and get you engaged?
No, not at all. Like you have these great TV shows. Like you have when The Undertaker had Ultimate Warrior on his show, and like the snakes, and Ultimate Warrior's throwing through the snakes, and you have the cutting edge, all this awesome stuff that would happen. And now it's Miz TV, and it's like nothing. It's a whole lot of nothing. They do contract signings on Miz TV, and there's no memorable contract signings I can think of. Like nothing. There's nothing. What is the most memorable thing this guy has done, aside from the promo with Daniel Bryan, that's like remembered in a good way?
When I remember when they tried to get Rick, it's like 2013 when like Ric Flair, they tried to get Flair to give the Miz the figure four to try and get the Miz over, and then it just failed. I remember that. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Like not even Ric Flair, like one of the 3 or 4 greatest wrestlers of all time could get the Miz over.
Oh, but Miz is really good on the stick. Don't you like great promo work? I thought that's what you wanted.
He cut one great promo. One. I'll give the devil his due. He cut one great promo in his entire career.
Well, one memorable one, because the one like 2 weeks ago where he was like basically crying in the ring because his Money in the Bank briefcase got cashed in by Morrison or something. And that's another thing I want to talk about. This whole Money in the Bank thing. Look, Otis had the briefcase. The Walking GIF had it. It was a complete disaster. No one wants to see Otis as world champion. That was a failure. So you give it to The Miz as though The Miz is some great solution to the problem. When it's like, okay, The Miz cashes in to become WWE champion in 2021. Is anyone going to be like, oh my God, Miz is champion? No, he's not a solution. The Miz, he's more of the problem. It's just, okay, Miz wins the title, hypothetically. We get Miz TV, only this time, Miz has a title belt on his shoulder. It's just, no one cares.
Another thing too that we got to talk about is the fact that there's like this notion that he's a celebrity outside of WWE, and like he's the biggest ripoff of The Rock from his microphone, his promo style, to like the way he carries himself with the the catchphrases and all that. And then he does like B minus, like what? Not even B minus, like D movies that end up straight to DVD.
But the Marine 5, Kevin, Condemned 47. 12 round 6. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's how the Hollywood producers felt about the Marine. The first one had John Cena. What was the second one had? What, Mr. Kennedy in it? And then now it's just been The Miz ever since then. You never hear anything about it. When John Cena was in the Marine, it was in movie theaters. Now it's straight to DVD, and I don't think anybody even watches them.
Yeah, I remember as like a little like 9-year-old, I like bought one of these like WWE DVDs, like SummerSlam 2012 or something on like WWE Home Video. I'm watching it, and every time you watch it, beforehand, there's a video for like 12 rounds 4 starring The Miz. And I was always just like, is anyone going to want to watch this? And then there was like that crappy movie they did with Kane, like was it See No Evil or something? Like these WWE Home Video movies that like The Miz is the king of, no one watches them. Like you don't even get these smarks in the IWC saying, "Oh, I enjoyed Miz's acting work in 12 round 6." Like no one talks about them. They're just movies that go straight to home video. They're in some bargain bin at Walmart for $3. No one's buying them, and that's what Miz stars in because that's Miz's like that's his movie career.
Yeah, now he's and his TV show. His TV show only gets ratings because it comes on right after Raw. Like if you put that on like a primetime slot at 8 p.m., nobody's gonna watch Miz and Mrs. So now he's like thrown into this hat as he's like some mainstream celebrity, but who knows who the Miz is? Like, and he was on Real World too. He did some things on MTV. He was kind of popular, but even people hated him from the Real World. So I don't know, bro. I don't get it. I don't know. I never got it.
Also, one other thing I want to mention while we're doing the Miz video, I just want to say one other thing. I mentioned when I was like some 9-year-old getting like a WWE DVD, and the Miz was always featured in like ads. Speaking of that, when I was like an 8-year-old watching WWE Experience with Matt Stryker, and this was back in like September, October, November 2011, when Awesome Truth were like hijacking the show, getting arrested, and Triple H was like the COO who we all had to feel for because Awesome Truth were turning the WWE against Triple H, and you had Miz and R-Truth running out there, getting arrested. Like these angles that the Miz is like quote unquote famous for, a million quotes around famous, these like angles he's remembered for. Awesome Truth getting arrested? Like really Kevin, really when my hand goes up your mouth goes shut. Is that a sign to explain to the audience?
What was the other one that they did that they tried with him? Oh, the A-lister. I'm the A-lister. Oh my god. Every gimmick this guy has had is crashed and burned. He's been in more random tag teams than any other wrestler. Like, it's got to be him and Cesaro. They got to be the kings of this shit. Where, like,
Show Miz.
Yeah, Show Miz. Awesome Truth. Miz and Morrison.
The B team.
The B team. Damian Sandow. Like, how many freaking random tag teams?
Oh, don't remind me. Don't remind me of the stunt double. Oh, no. Oh, I remember that. People online loved that because Damian Sandow was acting like a 6-year-old on the playground at a childcare center.
But he was so over. He was so over. The crowd cheered for Mizdow. They loved him.
Oh, hearing him. Meanwhile, Miz is literally... What's Miz doing? Miz is just doing nothing in the ring. But because Sandow is being a goofball at ringside, the crowds were loving it. They loved him in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia at the 2015 Rumble. The night they hijacked the show, they loved Miz and Mizdow then. Like, that's the Miz. What is the Miz? Explain what the Miz... What is the Miz to you, Kevin? What is the Miz?
The character? He has no character. No gimmick. When you think, like, what is the Miz? What is his character? What is his gimmick? If you don't have a good character, a good gimmick, at least be good in the ring, like Daniel Bryan or Kevin Owens. Like, at least be good in the ring, man. Come on. You know?
They took his name, like Mizanin, and just took that. It's like taking Steve Austin and calling him the Oz. Like, it doesn't make sense.
The Steve. It's the Steve, guys.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Or Rocky Maivia, calling him the Mai. You know? Or Triple H, Paul Levesque, the Lev. These names don't make sense.
I mean, if you're gonna use your real name, be like Batista and John Cena. Just go by your real name, your full name. You know?
Yeah.
Like, just call yourself Mike Mizanin.
Oh, guys, Mike Mizanin's on Superstars this week, losing to Evan Bourne. I'm gonna watch that.
That's the ultimate jobber name, Mike Mizanin. That's like the Velocity 2003 jobber name right there.
God. Oh, you can picture Mike Mizanin losing to Jimmy Wang Yang, can't you?
Yeah, 100%. Put him in there with Jesse and Festus. All right, I gotta throw it back now. Now we gotta go earlier before. I don't want to sound old. Before your time though, where the Miz was where the Miz was used on SmackDown before he was even a wrestler, and he would like host these diva shows. Have you seen these clips by any chance? when he would host the bikini contest?
The only one I've seen is when he forgot the phone number to the Divas Touch. That's the only one I've seen.
Like I just remember him like, yeah, that's like how do you forget your lines, bro? But I mean that happens, but still, it didn't look good. He forgot his lines. It was brutal. But I just remember him like doing
the number is
I remember him hosting these bikini contests, and he would try to play like the cool guy that was like too nice for the hot girls, and he would just be like simping for Tori Wilson and Layla and whatnot. It's like, bruh, this is so cringe. You know, like, oh my god, Jesus, like how that guy that forgot his lines on a diva search went from the main event of WrestleMania 7 years later is beyond me.
Yeah, Kevin, he's a main event star, pushing pool floats, having Michael Cole in the coal mine, clapping for the Maz. Also, that's the other thing. I hate how Michael Cole says his name, the Maz. It's Miz, not the Maz. It's the same thing with Big A or Batista or Philadelphia. When Michael Cole says his name, it makes you just cringe. Not even when Cole is a heel, just in general. Or the Maz. Like, it's the Miz. If you're gonna go with that terrible ring name of the Miz instead of Mike Mizanin, at least say it right on commentary, please, so our ears don't have to bleed.
The whole Michael Cole and the Miz thing, like, thank God. I don't want to say thank God that it came to an end, because the way it came to an end was kind of unfortunate with Jerry Lawler. But the way, like, just that when the Miz would come out and Michael Cole would be like, oh my God, it's the Miz. He's the best wrestler in the world. It was like, why? Like, it's not funny. It's not entertaining. Who finds this entertaining? Like Vince McMahon? Bruce Pritchard wasn't even there, so we can't blame Bruce on this one. Who finds this entertaining?
Well, back when they did, like, this was back in that time period, 2010, 2011, when Michael Cole was like the biggest Miz stan you'll ever see. And it was Miz versus Daniel Bryan. And it was just Cole slandering Daniel Bryan every week, which I'm sure the IWC loves in hindsight, but at the time it wasn't good. And then, so there's that happening. All this slander, Michael Cole saying that Daniel Bryan sucks, and that the Miz is the best wrestler in the world. And I'm just like, this is the best thing they've got going on in WWE in 2010. That's how bad the year was.
Oh God, yeah. I think we beat up on the Miz enough, man. You got
that's
enough. Anything else you want to say?
I'm bored of talking about him. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, that's it. All right, subscribe to my channel, guys, if you made it this far, and leave a like on the video. That really helps me out. Thank you, Elitist, for doing this, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Peace.
I got that passion that's lasting long. Los mujeres fall in love with that Latin charm. One woman isn't enough, amigo. Siempre